Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our Black History Month Assembly. We are so excited to have so many of you here. And we can see in the chat window, there's lots and lots of good morning messages from everybody from letting us know where you are all around the UK. And I think we have got some international schools here as well. So please use the chat window to interact with us. Just a couple of things as well to make you aware of before we get started. The session is going to be for half an hour, and we have got a lot of people joining us today. We will try and get through as many of the chat messages and questions as we can, but please feel free to read each other's messages as well as we're going through. If you are on X or on Facebook or social media, we would love to see where you are. So if you could take a picture of yourselves watching or any of the conversations, if you want to record a short video and share it online, we would love to see that. So I've put our X handle on the bottom and the hashtag Pitch News BHM, if you could use that as well, and then we will share as many of those posts as we can. So we will get started. If you could, for questions, use the Q&A window, and anything else or any of the questions that I'm going through as we're interacting with you, please use the chat. Thank you very much, everybody. There is also a poll on the screen. What we're going to do after this session, and we will email everybody to let you know, and we'll put it on our social media. We would like to know exactly how many of us are watching today. So if your teacher or whoever's controlling your screen could type in how many of you are sat watching. And I know some of you are watching as a whole school, and some of you are watching in classes and smaller groups. So we would love to know that. So if you could put that into the poll that should be on your screen now, that'd be great. Thank you very much. Okay, so very quickly, just to start, because I don't want to talk for too long, because we have a very special guest who I'm going to be introducing in a couple of minutes. I'd just like to know, what do you know already about Black History Month? And have you celebrated it before? And if so, what have you done, or in what ways have you celebrated it? And then I'll take some of your responses from the chat. So what do you know already about Black History Month? So I'll just give you a moment to share your responses and then type something into the chat. So we've got a couple of answers already. We celebrate every year. It's celebrated in October. Oh, well done, 5C. Reclaim the narrative. That's this year's theme. Mrs. Poole says celebrating achievements, inspirational Black people. Someone's mentioned Rosa Parks. About the success of different people. This year, each class have a key figure who they're researching and teaching each of the classes about their life. Thank you very much. That's STA Jackson. I like that. Nicola Watson says, celebrate by listening to music by Black artists each morning. That's Barnborough Primary. Great, thank you. Please read each other's answers. I won't share all of them because there's lots and lots on there, but there's some great answers. It's lovely to hear how you're celebrating and for you to learn about each other as well and how you're all celebrating. So thank you very much for that. So in terms of what Black History Month is, so in the UK and in other places, they're celebrated in other months. In the UK, it's celebrated in October, and it provides an opportunity for people to understand, share and celebrate the history of Black heritage and culture and the impact today. So that's what we're going to be thinking about and talking about. And it's really interesting to see the different ways that you're celebrating. So this year's theme is reclaiming the narrative. And this is an interesting thing to think about. So history obviously is made up of stories from the past, but how they're told depends on who's telling that story. So if something's happened to you and a friend, and the stories that you both say about that might be quite different because it's from your own perspective. So it's something that's happened to you. So sometimes, and particularly when we're looking at history and we're thinking about history, it's often the people in power. So it might be the leaders that are controlling the story and what's remembered from that event that's happened in the past. So it's really important. So we're going to be thinking about have you considered who writes history? So when you're thinking about the history that you learn in school, where that's come from, all of that information, where it's come from. And can you think of a time, and this is the question that I would like you to answer very quickly in the chat window, the second one here. Can you think of a time that the same event has been told from a different perspective? So for example, maybe a time, and this could be something in your family, or it could be a time at school, when the story was told very differently. So you had a different perspective on that story. And an example here is possibly maybe when you've fallen out with a friend, and what you remember happened might be quite different to what they remember happened. So I'm just going to give you a couple of moments to think about that. So we've got lots of very interesting responses here. Playground disagreement, Rosa Parks story on the bus, having an argument with your friend. In a football match, that's a good example. So in a sports situation, when two teams have a disagreement and maybe think something else different happened. When the Vikings invaded Lindisfarne and the Anglo-Saxons wrote the recounts of what happened, that's a really good example. So lots of different, some from the past, some for the present, and some from your everyday lives. So yeah, so really interesting. So lots of different ways that you can think about how we look at the past and who is telling that story. And that can be really important because it can make it seem very, very different. So one thing that this year's theme is about looking at it from different perspectives that may not have been considered or written about at the time. So it's looking back and maybe considering and exploring different times and different situations. Some wonderful examples. So please read each other's. And when we send, after the webinar is finished, when we send your teachers the recording and the chat, please feel free to have a look back at some of those examples. So there's some really good ones in there. You'll be able to see those again. Okay, now it is time for our very special guest. And I am so, so excited. And it's such an honor to have Swarzy here. So Swazy's here, and she's going to turn on her camera so you can see her. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so, so much for joining us, Swarzy. And I'm sure lots of you will know Swarzy. Swarzy is a BBC presenter, and she's done lots of other things. So I'll let Swarzy introduce herself and tell you a little bit more. And then afterwards, and be thinking about any questions that you'd like to ask, because we will be having 10 minutes of question time for Swarzy as well at the end. So over to you, Swarzy.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Look, that's my little face there. And I'm much taller on Zoom. So you're probably a lot taller actually in person. So this is very cool. Well, good morning. I am zooming in from East London. So if you're waving, give me an extra wave if you're from East London. I'm in Ilford, East London, and that's where I went to school and that's where I grew up. And this is my name. So my nickname, which I'm going to come to, is Swarzy, but this is my full name. And this is how you say my full name. Françoise Adele Macaly. And my mum said that if she ever had a girl, she would give her a French name. And so I am the girl with a French name. So who am I and what am I all about? Let's see if these slides work. Okay, there you go. So that's a very younger me. And let me just move my screen over this side. That's a very younger me. And I've actually got married. So now I've got a new story because my surname has changed. It's changed to Sheary, although a lot of people say Shire because it's spelt Shire. But it's almost got like an extra E and an invisible E on the end because my husband is from Zimbabwe. So if you're waving and you're from Zimbabwe, hello, hello, hello. Lots and lots of hands, I'm sure, all across different schools because we're all from different places. And so, yeah, that's my full name. My nickname is Swarzy. I grew up in East London and I'm a radio and TV presenter. So I work on BBC Radio 1 Extra. I don't know if you listen to 1 Extra in the mornings on school. I actually think you do, because when I'm on radio, there's lots of text messages and voice notes from lots and lots of people saying, hi, Swarzy, I'm on my way to school. Or sometimes on a Saturday, hi, Swarzy, I'm on my way to football. So if you're up early on a Saturday morning from 7 to 10 a.m., why don't you text me or say to me, Swarzy, please, could you play this song? This is the song that I love. And hopefully on a Saturday morning, if you're locked in on radio, I can play your song on 1 Extra. But where am I from? Where are you from? Is this going to work? Yes, my mum is from Guyana. And if you can look at this world map, maybe you want to come a little bit closer to the screen and point to where your family is from. Where are you from in the world? Well, I'm sure you can see the UK kind of a little bit in the middle of this map. And then if you go right to the bottom of that and bottom like right, that's London. So that's where I am. But my mum and dad weren't originally from the UK. So my mum is from a place called Guyana. And so Guyana is there where the map is showing. It's in South America, but it actually falls quite closely to the Caribbean. So we would say that we're quite Caribbean people. We're very Caribbean. We're just above Brazil, but we're quite close to, well, Guyana is split actually into British Guyana, which is where my family are from. You've got French Guyana, and then you've also got Dutch Guyana. So where we're from is British Guyana, and our culture is very, very Caribbean. And let me show you what my family look like. If you're thinking, what do Guyanese people look like? Here are some crazy Guyanese people who do very crazy things at Christmas time. And at Christmas time, we love to play fancy dress. We pick a theme, we pick a topic, and we all say, okay, great, we're going to dress up as different characters. And so last year, have you come close to the screen? Who can you spot? Who can you see in this photo? I'm sure on the right-hand side, you can see a very crazy sister of mine wearing a tall blue wig and a green dress. And I wonder if you can guess which character she came as. Can you put it in the chat? Who as a cartoon character, if she could paint her skin yellow all over, then she would have done, but that would have been a bit messy at Christmas time. But who wears a blue wig and a green dress? And you're probably thinking Marge Simpson as one of the Simpsons. So yes, she did come as Marge Simpson. One of my aunties dressed up as the Queen. I don't know why she did that. She came as the Queen. I came as, can you see my mustache just there? And I had a mask as well for Bruce Forsyth, who's an incredible TV presenter. And there's Mario at the back there. So lots of us came as different characters, because one of my family traditions to do around Christmas time is to dress up for fancy dress. And we love to do that. But if you can see all the different faces, you can see that we all look very different in some ways, but also quite similar because we're family. But some of us have got very crazy curly hair. Others of us have got short afros and high tops. Our friend at the back there was one of my cousin's uni friends. If you're thinking, he doesn't look like your family, but you know what? We're also a family where our story is we invite lots and lots of people to come for Christmas, particularly for people who may have spent Christmas by themselves. We say, no, come and have a lot of dinner with us. And on the subject of dinner, Christmas is coming up, and I wonder if you can put in your group chat, if you celebrate Christmas or another big holiday, what do you have on your dinner table? Because this is what we have on our dinner table. Look at this. I'm even getting hungry. Did you have breakfast this morning? Because if you didn't, I'm sure your belly is rumbling. This is what a Guyanese or / Swazi family Christmas would look like. And one of my favorite things to eat is macaroni cheese. Does anyone else love macaroni cheese? I'm quite greedy when it comes to macaroni cheese. I like to eat a lot of it, but I like to cook it. And so I put lots of different cheeses to make it really melty and really like yummy macaroni cheese. We have rice and peas. We have something called curry goat, which is really just, well, you could have lamb really to have it, but you could have lots of different food. And then we've got salads. We've got gravies. We also do a very British Christmas as well. One of my aunties likes turkey, and I don't like turkey very much because it's a little bit dry for me. So I put lots of curry goat sauce and gravy on the top of it. And this is something else that we love to eat. In Guyana, we have a roti called bus up shop roti. And it's because when you get the roti on the pan, the next thing you have to do is clap it really quickly and it becomes really flaky. And you'd have this with a curry or you'd have it to dip it in your sauce. And so we love roti in Guyana and we love roti in my family as well. And so if you ever come for dinner, I'm sure this is going to be on the table. But that's my mum's side of the family. Then you've got my dad's side of the family who are from Mauritius. So if you're from Guyana, give me a wave. But if you're also from Mauritius, then you are twinning with me. Maybe you've got the same mix as me. My dad is from a very, very, very small island as a dot. It's so small, even on the map, you can't really see it. But if you zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, you will see an island there called Mauritius. And it's very close to another place called Madagascar, or different places, in fact. But we're very, very small, and we're very hot, and we speak lots of different languages. And again, lots of people from Mauritius look very, very different, just like people from Guyana. So this is actually what my dad looks like. This is my dad probably in secondary school, I think. His name is Danny. My mum's name is Deborah. So Deborah and Danny, the two Ds. And this was my dad. So my dad's mum is this lady on the other side who is Chinese. She's Chinese Mauritian. And she married a black man. And so my dad is both Chinese Mauritian and African Mauritian. But although we don't know my granddad, my dad's dad, my nan does say he was of a very funny man, and he had a small afro as well. So my dad, when he grew up, had a little bit of a small afro, but my nanny, she didn't have an afro at all. She was Chinese Mauritian. And there's me and my brother who she's cuddling. And so of course you then think, oh my gosh, the same family can look so different because people from all over the world back in the day, as we were talking about it this morning, the horrors or the horrible stories around slavery meant that people were stolen and taken from all parts of the world and taken to different places to live. And of course, they would have married and have children. And so those children would look very different. And so that's how different stories for different families would have come about. But for my family, we're from Guyana and from Mauritius, and that's where you get me and my brother who's sitting there in the chair with my grandma. Okay, I'm going to skip next. What do we eat in Mauritius then? If you are Mauritian and you are sitting in your classroom, I hope that you will have a lot of seafood on your dinner table because that's all my family love to eat. But we also, oops, I'm going too quick. There we go. Thank you. We love to eat prawns, and this is crab. Do you know what? I tried to take a photo at my last dinner at my family, but the food went too quickly because we love food, and this definitely goes very quickly. So we love to eat crab or lobster or prawns because where my dad was born in Mauritius, he was born next to the sea, and lots of people in Mauritius who were born next to the sea became fishermen, and so they would go and fish every day to bring something home for their family to cook and eat. And a popular thing to bring home would be crab and prawns. And so at Christmas time, it doesn't look like what my mum's side would eat, but instead we'd have lots and lots of fresh seafood. And so I'm getting quite hungry now for Christmas because that's what we're planning. But funny enough, even though we'd have that, we'd also have roti, which just goes to show, even if our family is on the other side of the world, particularly my family, funny how tradition and culture and food in particular travels all around the world. And my nanny would be making roti. So when my dad's mum met my mum's mum, they had lots to talk about around food because actually the culture was so similar. They'd be eating very similar dishes. And so, yeah, roti in Mauritius, or dal puri roti in particular, is also very, very popular. But this is me. Right, okay, kids, you're gonna have to come to the screen very, very close. Can you find me in my school photo? This is me in primary school. Can you believe it? Keep all your photos from school. That is one thing I want to say. Keep all your photos. Well, this is me. I am on the second row. Can you guess where I am? Can you see? I'm on the second row standing up, and I'm the third little girl to the left. That's me with, I think, a ponytail, and my mum gave me 2 plaques for my school photo. And so this was me in year 3. I don't even know how old you are in year 3. I think you're about 6 or 7, are you? If you're in year 3, give us a wave, give us a wave. But this is my class. And so I went to a school very multicultural. I went to school with lots of different kids from lots of different places around the world. And so I got to learn about lots of different cultures, including my best friend who's just behind me. This is Jazdeep, and she got married like a couple of weeks ago, and I learned a lot about her culture. So hopefully I can get to the next slide and show you me and Jazdeep years on. And look at us from year 3 as big people now. And this is one of the things in her culture that she does. She gets mendi done. So I'm sure lots of us are familiar with different ways people get married. And one way that Jazdeep got married is to have a whole day dedicated to getting her mendi done. And she said, come, Swazy, come and get your mendi done. So this was us with our mendi done on one of her party nights. And I had to wear one of her gorgeous friends' outfits. And so we dressed up, and I celebrated a different wedding in a different culture because I love my friend and I've grown up with her all of my life from year 3. And so what an amazing thing then to see someone else's culture on full display and how she gets married. And she invited me in to learn about her culture and to even take part by getting my mendi done, which lasted quite well, to be fair. Okay, let me zoom through some of these other slides. This was me in secondary school. To be honest, if you come in really closely and even try and zoom in, I can't even find myself. I'm like, where's Wally? I can't even find where I am in this school photo, but I think I took this school photo from the balcony right at the top of our sports center. Where we went to school. This was our last day, so everyone was very happy. And I walked away with 2 friends, 2 really, well, lots of friends, but 2 very close friends from secondary school. So let me just get to the next slide. I don't think I can move these slides. This is Katie on the left, and this is Alicia on the right. And I remember these 2 girls in particular because one of the stories I had to reclaim, I had to take back, was one day in our form class, one of my teachers came in, and she was a supply teacher, and she came in and she said, she was doing the register, and she got to my name, Françoise, and she said, that name, I can't say your name, I'm going to call you Caroline. And my 2 friends and my mum in particular, when I got home and told my mum, they were like, no, miss, you can't call her Caroline. That's not her name. And so Katie and Alicia stood up for me in school and said, no, this is how you say her name, Françoise. And so from that day on, I made a real point to let teachers know, or people I work with now know, or anyone that I come and meet, this is how you say my name. My mum and dad chose my name, and you can't swap my name for another name just because you find my name a little bit tricky to say. So if you're in school and maybe you've got a name that other people say, how do you say your name? How do you say your name? Be confident, be strong, and say, this is how you say my name. And don't shy away, because your name is beautiful. So, so beautiful. Like my name is, like your name is. And I'm grateful for friends at school like Katie or like Alicia, who stood up and helped me make sure that my story didn't change and that my name in school was a name that I stuck to. And I still love my name very much so. Okay, this is my gorgeous husband. His name is Chico, and he's from Zimbabwe. And all of these things, all of those past slides about being from Guyana or from Mauritius or from food to friends and learning about different cultures, one of the best things about being just from different places, you get to go and travel and see different places and eat different things. Like this, I made him a watermelon beard. Do you like this? I bit a chunk out of the watermelon to give him a watermelon beard. We went to Turkey and had Turkish tea. But also, if we go on a plane and we go to the airport, we love to have a British breakfast, a big fry up with lots of baked beans. I love baked beans as part of my English breakfast. And so wherever you are from, isn't it amazing that you can try different foods and eat different meals and learn about different cultures through food, and then say, I love this. And wherever I am, wherever I travel to, I'm going to make sure sure I go and have some more of that delicious, delicious food. And if you can cook it at home, well, even better, right? So that's Chico. And then this is what I do for work. So all of this to say, I get to meet lots of really fabulous people, and I wonder if you can recognize who these people are. These guys are from The Voice. You've got Tom Jones there, you've got Leanne Rimes, you've got the McFly boys, and then will.i.am. Oh no, he's kind of been cut off a little bit there. But because I'm from different places and I've met people from different places, I can get really confident when talking to people because I just know there's always a story to tell. So it's lovely when you meet someone and say, where's your family from? What do you love to eat? What do you have for Christmas? What do you come home after school and have for dinner? All of those questions are brilliant questions to learn about someone and to learn about someone's story. On radio, I sit in a studio, and this was in the middle. Can you guess who this is? Even on the left, do you know who that person is? He's very tall, isn't he? That's Stormzy. And he invited me to launch his HQ, his Murky FC HQ in Croydon, which is South London. And then on radio, I met Mo the comedian, and he came in, and this is me on radio. And honestly, I had no real business being on radio. I won a competition, I got into radio, and I've been on radio for maybe about 6-7 years now, and I absolutely love it. It's a way to tell different stories, hear people tell their stories, and just find out what are people about. And so that's a little bit more about what I do for work. I get up very early on a Saturday morning, about 4 o'clock in the morning, and get into work in time to start my show, 7 to 10 a.m. So if you're up early on a Saturday, come with me and lock in, because that would be really, really fun to hear what you're doing up so early on a Saturday. Okay, I'm going to stop there and ask you, oh no, I'm going to just say this really quickly. So now I love to celebrate different cultures, especially Black culture, especially people from Caribbean places or from Africa, from wherever you may be, and tell your story. Because like we heard earlier, if other people tell your story, they may not tell it as honestly or as truthfully as you would tell your story. And so it's really, really important to say, no, this is what happened, and here's how to tell it. It might be through poetry or through song or through dance or through radio. It could be any way you like to tell your story. But here's some amazing people that I love to celebrate year on year, part of an exhibition called Too Much Sauce, and it's dedicated to celebrating Black British creatives doing amazing, amazing things. Because often when you turn on the TV or you look around at work, you don't often see as many people who look like you or your family in positions of excellence and want to be celebrated. And so that's what I love, love, love to do. And so we took over the Barbican in East London and had a massive, massive exhibition that lasted pretty much the whole month, to be honest. And it was really, really good. People came up and shared their story in all sorts of ways, which was really, really encouraging and really incredible. And so that's a little bit about me. I'm going to wrap it up there. And oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to leave you not a lot of time. That's my family who came and supported. And so I'm going to hand back over to you and the school chat, I think, and see if you have any questions. I know I haven't left a lot of time there, but hopefully there may be a couple of questions to
Thank
to
you
get.
so much. That was so interesting. And the comments have been lovely. People are so interested. Lots of people would like to come to your house for Christmas,
Come, come,
including
come.
me. Thank you so much. And quite a few people have asked where the name Swarzy came from.
Yes. So when I got to secondary school, lots of people, like I said, my teachers struggled to say my name, and it did make me a little bit less confident, actually, until my cousins were like, well, why don't you just have a nickname and half your name? So Francoise, the Swazi at the end of my name, just became my nickname for my cousins. And actually, I became a Christian when I was in year 10. When I was about 14, 15, I got into some trouble. I wasn't really having a good time at home or at school. And so I joined a youth group who happened to be part of my local church. And I found a whole bunch of people who were like, I love your name. Your name is so cool. And we're going to call you Swarzy. And so when I became a Christian at about 14 years old, I just ran with it. And now my work calls me Swarzy. The only person who doesn't is my mum, actually. My mum will always say, no, your name is Francoise. And so now I feel like I've got two names that I really, really love. And Swarzy is just literally the end of my first name, Francoise.
Thank you very much. And lots and lots of questions. I'm just going to try and do a quick fast fire of a few different ones. A few people asking if you can speak or understand any other languages.
Well, my dad speaks fluent French, or Creole in Mauritius. And unfortunately, they didn't teach me when I was a baby. And I would have really loved to be fluent in French. I studied French at school, and so I can get by. I speak a lot more French than I do any other language. And I can understand very, on the fly what they're saying. But no, I'm not fluent, but I can get by and make sure that I'm, trying to get something good out of speaking French when I go abroad or when I'm with my family.
And a few people have asked about the celebrations and the festivals that you take part in, being part of lots of different cultures.
Yeah, sure. So I think, yeah, we just do a lot of things around food. I think we've made our own traditions and our own cultures, similar to like fancy dress at Christmas. We love to do that. Our family loves to have a sports day every year in summer. And so everyone brings whatever sports they want to play. But I think, yeah, the Guyanese culture and the Mauritian culture, one thing I'd say around Christmas is that you always leave a plate empty. You always cook one plate extra, because you just never know who's going to knock on your door and say, can I join you for Christmas? And so I think that really came from my grandparents, who, when they went to church, would always come home after Christmas Day with someone to say, oh, this person's only got so-and-so to spend Christmas with. Come and spend Christmas with us. And so culturally, yeah, we always cook one plate extra, because you just never know who's going to come and knock on your door.
Thank you. Yeah. Lots of people asking. I think because there's been quite a common theme of food. If you had to choose just one food or one meal, what would it be?
Oh, this is a hard question. These are the harder questions than I even get on radio. I think I would go for curry goat and white rice and lots of plantain, because I probably could eat that every day of the year, let alone Christmas. And roti, of course. Oh my gosh, don't tell my mum I forgot the roti. So yeah, curry goat rice and roti would be, oh, I could eat that now, guys. And anyone cooking that for me, please? I could have that for breakfast.
And there's lots of people asking a bit more about your family and how many siblings you have and how
Yeah,
many there are in total. I think from the photos there were a few of you.
lots of us. Yeah, there's lots of us. So my mum is one of 4, and my husband's mum, she's one of 13. So you can imagine our Christmas is a very, very big family. But I've actually got one brother, a younger brother called Nathan. Imagine he's 2 years and 2 days younger than me. He was nearly born on my birthday. I said, oi, give me back my birthday. So he's born 2 days after me. But I've got lots of cousins who are similar in age and who are like sisters and brothers to me. So yeah, one actual brother, but lots and lots and lots of cousins.
Thank you. And lots of people asking about your radio work, interested in that, and some of the people that you've met. And a few people have asked, who is the most important or the most interesting interview you've had with anybody in your work?
Oh, wow. Funny enough, to answer who's the most important interview, I've always wanted to interview Doreen Lawrence. And if you don't know who Doreen Lawrence is, she's an incredible woman who's very, very much front and center part of Black British culture. Her son, Stephen Lawrence, sadly died. He was sadly killed, and she changed a lot of the narratives around police work and how you solve crimes like that, especially to do with knife crime. And so I had the opportunity to meet Doreen Lawrence and give her a big, big hug for all of the work that she's ever done. And so she's probably one of my most important interviews. But in terms of radio, not that I was on radio with her, but yeah, will.i.am was on radio. Mo the Comedian came on radio. Oh my gosh, I've met Dua Lipa, like all of these different people who are just so creative and so talented. And you try and squeeze them for a 10-minute interview, and then they start chatting, and then you start chatting. So yeah, lots of fun people who have come through to radio, and hopefully still will come, even if I've got an early show.
And just 2 more quick questions we'll do. First one, and again, lots of people asking this: what football team do you support?
What football team do I support? Okay, well, you can tell I'm in red. I'm an Arsenal fan through and through, because my dad, when we were growing up, his family live in Finsbury Park. So we grew up in North London. Now, I should have said this, grew up in North London and East London, but grew up right next to the Arsenal stadium. So sometimes when I was a kid, I could hear the football match happening because we live so close to the stadium. So because of that, because of my dad, I have to say I support Arsenal. Hopefully that's not upset too many people this morning.
And final question: what's the best part of your role and the work that you do? what do you enjoy the most?
Yeah, I think it's this, all that we've been speaking about. The theme of Black History Month is reclaiming your narrative, your story, giving people the microphone to say, who are you? And tell me more about yourself. What are you like? What's your story? And I think because that's such a key part of radio in general, I've now run with that, and I do my own events or my own exhibition, because it's so important to let someone hold that microphone and tell their own story before someone else comes and tells it for them. So yeah, if you've got the opportunity to do that in school, if you've got the opportunity to do that even among your friends, you might think you know your friend, but have you asked them, who are you? What do you love? What's your culture about? Maybe that's a question for lunchtime today, because maybe you'll find something else new that you didn't know before. That's what I love.
Thank you so much, and that's such a great way to end the session. The comments, I will send you them after. Everybody is they've been so inspired, and including me, and it was just wonderful to hear about your life and all of your family, and yeah, I'm very hungry now as well, so
Yeah.
have something to eat. But thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you very much to everybody for joining us as well, and for all of your interaction and contributions. I'm going to end the session now, but I will, after the session, we'll send you the recording and the slides as well, so you can have those, and the chat window, so you can read each other's comments if you didn't get a chance to see all of those. Thank you very much, everybody, and hope you have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank
say
you.
goodbye now. Bye.